And call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Dr. Fike?
Here.
Mr. Front?
Here.
Mrs. Geyer? Mr. Lizza? Mrs. O'Rear?
Here.
Mr. Polakowski? Mr. Shipley?
Here.
Mrs. Smith? Here. Mrs. Williams?
Here. Two announcements. We were in executive session prior to this for personnel and legal matters, as well as real estate. Mr. Polakowski will be joining us late, and Mr. Lizza has asked to be excused. Do we have any citizens' comments?
No, I do not.
Mark Scheller will update the board on outstanding projects. Do we have him connected?
Oh, he's
Or you're here?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Is this one? It is. Okay. I have a handout to distribute, so I will walk around since there's some blank spaces. I'll just distribute them if you don't mind me walking up.
Thank you.
Mark, I'll get some. I'll take care of it.
Okay. Thank you. Do these ones? It's good to see everyone this evening. I know that it has been a little while since we talked, so that's why I am here. I know that you're waiting anxiously to get some of the projects started. So I'm here tonight. I'll give you an update on the roofing project, the paving project, the status of the design work on that, and then if you do have any questions, we have presented a proposal to you for the rooftop unit, our services to assist you with architectural and engineering services to solicit bids for that project as well. So you have before you I'll be working off of the first page here. It's primarily the key points that I wanted to go over this evening. And interrupt me if you have questions along the way, please do. The primary center roofing project update. The main delay that we've had so far is the material availability. Primarily, it's the roofing insulation that has been extremely back-ordered across the country. We bid this project, as you know, like late summer, early fall, and everything, all systems was go. And then the contractors got into a material availability for insulation. They literally just received the insulation for your project yesterday. And so that is an incredible, roofing is basically a situation that all districts, everyone is, kind of pressed with wanting to do a roof and needing to wait a year to do it. So bidding it and waiting for the material to just become available has been a struggle. So that is the cause of your delay. We have a very good contractor that has communicated to me along the way. He just simply couldn't do anything about getting his insulation. He actually has been able to offset a project and use their insulation to do your project first because you were actually awarded to him first and he ordered, from two different companies. So he's shuffling things around. You can just imagine the contractor's world of trying to get materials, stay on track and on budget. There is also the delay, as you might imagine, inflation and cost of materials have gone up. He is not going to be, posing any change orders or anything for the cost of the materials, even though materials have gone up. He's honoring the bid that you awarded to him last year. It's just been a struggle. So with that being said, insulation is in place. Coverboard is in place. He has all of the material to do your project, so he is waiting for the weather to break. He does need to be above 40 degrees temperature in order for the adhesive of the roofing material to actually work. So he is planning to do that work. End of March is kind of when the weather breaks for roofing work. They know that the snow is probably melted at that time. Rain is always a consideration in the spring, but they will only do amount of roofing that will remove the amount of roof that they can replace in that day. So you'll never be opened up for leaking or anything like that. So kind of the middle of March, what I'm going to do is I'm going to schedule a meeting with Vince, Charlie, and Pam potentially if she wants to be involved as well, and the principal at the primary school. Just make sure that we understand the staging, where they're going to be putting their equipment, where they're going to be loading material. So we'll do that. I call it a pre-construction meeting. I'll be hosting that. So you'll get an additional update at that point. But we've weathered the storm, so to speak, and so we have the insulation so we can get started on the project. So I'll be managing that along the way. I'll come down and monitor it, and I can give board updates through construction if you'd like as well. So I can always attend either via Zoom or in person, whatever you would need. So that in a nutshell is the roofing project. Thank you so much for your patience. You have been spectacular on that. And you know, it has been a challenge, but I hope that I kind of put you at ease tonight with the reason it's delayed and that we are out of the woods. Any questions on roofing? Okay, great. Next is the paving improvement project. We were hired to do that project, and we are in the process. It has been a little bit slow because the schedule of the project is such that doing construction on the site when you're in school is not going to be successful. There will be, you know, paving disrupted and removed. You won't be able to drive over it. And a lot of the work, especially at this campus here, is your access around the building and your buses loading and drop off. So we didn't want to impact that during school. So we did take the time in order to make sure that the documents are right. We've had a couple conversations with Vince and Charlie. As part of this packet is our last meeting minutes. It just brings you up to speed as far as what we talked with Vince and Charlie about at the last meeting. That's the time. Now, granted, it was September when we talked about it, but that's the time that we really approached the subject of when we're going to do the project, when we're going to bid it, and when we're going to do the construction. I've done multiple paving projects of this size, even larger than this, that have been done in 3 months. So you won't have any problem getting it done over the summer when your campus is more empty and being able to allow the construction to just go in smoothly. Like I said, meeting minutes from the last meeting are attached. I also have the progress drawings that the engineers have put together. They're folded at the back of your packet. I won't go over those tonight, but this is just giving you an update, letting you know that the drawings are being progressed, and we are about at 90% complete for these drawings. I think what we'll do is we'll have another meeting with Vince, Pam, and Charlie just to go over the project, you know, the drawings, and make sure that everyone's comfortable with what's on the drawings, and then at that point I'll be able to wrap up the specifications and go to bid like we typically do for your projects. We also have received a geotechnical report back in the fall that was taking borings at various locations around the campus to make sure that we understand what the paving depths are, how deep or how thick the paving is, how deep the base is. That allowed us to determine whether we needed to have full depth paving replacement or just a milling and an overlay. So we have a little bit of a combination of both. You do have some good base, so the geotechnical report was critical in allowing us to design a project that is cost effective for you, and it's not all full depth replacement because that cost gets a little bit more expensive. So the geotechnical report has been forwarded to Vince for the records, and if you'd like a copy, I did not include it here. It's about 60 pages, so I didn't include it in this document, but rest assured we do have that. So the schedule that I'm looking at is wrapping up bidding documents, and they'll be finalized at the end of this month or early March. We're going to bid then for 30 days, 3 weeks. I'll align that receipt of bids with one of your board meetings. We'll come and we'll present it to you at your work session. You can vote on it at a voting meeting, and then we can issue the notices to proceed, and the contracts can be then kind of vetted with your solicitor as well as ourselves. So as we know, we do have a little bit of time to work and make sure that everything is right before we go out to bid traditionally, but I do want to bid it earlier this year so that you are in the queue for the summer. Paving contractors get busy at this time. They start to build their inventory or their backlog for work in the summer, so I want to make sure that they are you're in the queue for them to schedule your work in the summer. So I am shooting for, I have another project going out the last week of February, so I'm thinking more realistically our team will be able to get you out to bid the beginning of March. So we'll be looking at April to present to you the bids, and then we can, hopefully everything is good for you after the bids are in. We do have some alternate bids designed so that you will have some cost management opportunities. When the numbers get in, you could add or deduct some of the work from the project like we do for you if that potential is available, which it is on a paving project. I also want to let you know that after these minutes, I do have a document in here, and you may want to turn to it. It's the document with the yellow highlighting and the red text in there. I asked HF Lenz, who is the civil engineer doing the design of the work, based on their experience, to make sure that they provided you with a budget estimate from what they know about the scope of the project. So it's broken up into the two campuses, your high school paving. You can see the line items there for mobilization, general conditions. There is some full depth pavement. There's tube mill overlay, part of the pavement. There is wedge curb, part of the perimeter of the pavement to route the water to the drains. There are bumping blocks for the parking over the top, at the top of the high school where you park up against the school. That slope there, we put bumpers so that the cars don't roll over the hill. And then we have line painting, and so the high school is looking at approximately $181,000, $228. If you'll note in the red, there's a market volatility ratio that HF Lenz has been finding. It's just very hard to determine, when we're estimating projects, yet we're bidding it a month or so later, what is the market going to yield? So we are showing you a 25% kind of contingency there, if you will, for the market and the material availability and some of the overruns. Last year, when I was talking to the roofing contractor, he had indicated to me that there were going to be 3 more cost increase in the construction industry between the end of 2021 to August of 2022. So that is a little bit unknown to us what the percentages of the cost increase are going to be. So that 25% helps you budget for that. So Pam, that'll help you understanding that. And then the next line down below, or that section of that page, is for the elementary school. A little bit less work there, so the budget is a little bit lower at that point. So the grand total is the red. So that's including the market volatility contingency that HF Lenz has done. So we're hoping that we come in competitive. We have seen competitive bids, but in my world and in my business, it is incredibly hard to budget estimate these days, and I really, I've prided ourselves on that in the past, being accurate. But this time we have to throw in some contingencies. So that's what you have before you this evening. I think that's a kind of, the summary of the paving improvement project. So we'll bid at the beginning of March. You'll have the bids to vote on in April, and then we'll get everyone started in June. They may be able to get here and work on weekends or evenings, to mobilize a little bit while you're still in school. But really, I think the meat of the work, or the primary portion of the work, will be done in the summer. Any questions on paving? Okay. Then the final, would you like me to talk about the proposal we gave you? I just have a couple key points to make about that. So the proposal is for assisting you with rooftop unit replacement at this building. So there's some units that are on, there's 3 units that are in critical need of being replaced at this point. We've talked very closely with Pam and Charlie about this. So we know that we may be able to break up the project into 2 phases. While this summer is upon us, basically, there are material availability. You'll see down here, the intent is to replace 3 units in the summer of 2022 and the remaining units in the summer of 2023. That may have become a approach because of the material availability for rooftop unit and pumps and things that are associated with mechanical units. I am looking at a certain brand of unit, like a Johnson Control unit or a Carrier unit, which is one of the units that we would put into these bid documents, because competition, as you know, we've done this for you many times, competition gives you better prices. So having multiple rooftop unit manufacturers against one another, you're going to get better values. But they're showing 21 to 24 weeks lead time upon the order of the units in order for them to have them delivered to the site. So if we're working back from an August 1st or even a September 1st deadline, that puts us at this time frame. So that puts us at April in order to make this work. The one thing that is in your favor is that those units are for fresh air. They're for makeup air. They're not necessarily for air, for heating and cooling of the building. They are a code requirement to provide fresh air in. So the air from the rooftop units comes into the building, mixes with fan coil units that are in the building, and then that air is either heated or cooled as the thermostats are calling for it. So we have a little bit of time to work into the fall. So I don't think, we're at the end. It's not the 11th hour, if you will. We have time to work on this if you would like to engage us to help you with that project. But it is one of those things that we're looking very closely at. If you are agreeable to getting started on that project, we want to hit the ground running right away because we want to bid that as soon as possible so we have the potential to get the materials on site for end of summer, early fall construction. Oftentimes you don't start heating until October, middle of October. So we do have a little bit of time to make this work. There could just be construction during the school year, and then basically it's going to be limited to the roofs. It's going to be a crane that lifts the units onto the roof. The workers are on the roof doing those connections. There may be a little bit of work inside for final connections, but it won't be disrupting your education or delivering education in the fall by any means. Another lead time item is that the AON units, which is what you have on the roof now, so if we were going to do a 1-for-1 replacement with AON manufacturer, they're looking at 12 to 14 week lead time. I do want to say that is there's a caveat when we hear these numbers, is that they want to sell equipment. They want everybody that wants to buy their equipment to think it's going to come on time. I have been doing a project for 2 years with Slippery Rock University. It's a mechanical project throughout their building, just like we did here years and years ago. And they are still waiting for some of their control components. They can still run the system, but they can't get control components. So we couldn't balance and commission the project until so we're going through a heating season with kind of unbalanced controls until we can get through heating and then balance them in the spring. So Slippery Rock's been patient, just like you're patient. We always appreciate that, but it is an interesting market. So that's basically what I have for you. This packet here is where we're at this point. So I hope it satisfies, the update that you needed from me. Yes, Dr. Fike.
You're saying that there could be an $81,000 increase in paving if the market goes to where it could be?
There could be. So within that budget number, you're going to be, we feel that you're relatively comfortable with the bottom grand total of 404. That includes your $81,000 increase. Yeah.
But that isn't, but if you look at the two black numbers, okay, the difference is $81,000.
Exactly. Yeah. So that is the market. That's the world we're living in, And if you go to the store and you're going to buy wood, lumber, construction market, those commodities are through the roof right now. We've had some conversations with our financial advisors and our accountants, and, they're tracking the market all the time, and it's going to break. It really is. So at some point, but we're not at that point now where commodities have broken, come down. So where you were paying, $4 for a 2x4 2 years ago, you're paying $12, $16. There's an increase. Let me go back for a second because I do have some information from the roofing contractor. He said that to deliver one truck, like a semi-truck, to deliver his insulation to his factory from the warehouse is typically $300. It costs $700 for him to have it delivered the last 2 days. So that's over a 50% increase in shipping costs, and that's not being passed on to you. So, that was good news, but that's kind of the reality, Dr. Fike. It is hard to know, but we wouldn't be doing a service to you if we were not informing you of that now. And that's kind of, it's hard to see, but it is reality.
That's a big number.
Yeah.
Thank you. Did anybody have anything else? Thank you.
Okay. Do you need me to stick around, or are you okay?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Are you possibly available for a Buildings and Ground Committee meeting if we would need to meet with you prior to any further discussion on the HVAC units or anything like that.
I have quite a few. Is it going to happen next week?
No.
All right. Yeah, I'm available. We'll just work out the schedule. If I can't come down, I'll just call in if you're all right
Okay,
with that.
that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm always available, but I am so booked next week with.
No, I don't think it'll be.
Especially on Thursdays. I have
Okay.
another Thursday night. So.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Student number SE-2021-2022-001, compensatory service resolution.
The board is asked to authorize the student SE 2021-22-001 compensatory service resolution.
Need a motion?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Dr. Pike?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Approve Bay Non-Sports Services contract.
Board is asked to approve the Banon Sports Service contract for the resurfacing of the track. The base project to begin in the 21-22 fiscal year in the amount of $121,980, and the alternate number 1 project in the amount of $41,900 to be done in the 22-23 fiscal year.
I need a motion.
Make the motion.
Second.
Discussion?
What was the alternate number 1 project?
It's just the sealing of the track.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't remember what was in that. Okay.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Custodian salary adjustment correction.
Board is asked to amend the motion of January 20th, 2022, in which 2 custodians were hired at an incorrect rate. The salary should be $15.09 an hour. The board is asked to make a motion to adjust to the correct rate.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
So will they be receiving, was it higher or lower? Like, are they going to be receiving?
It's a lower rate.
It's lower, but I'm not 100% sure that they've received the payment yet,
Okay.
because they've just started.
Okay. Okay.
Because the new custodial employees, we withhold the 2 weeks for them.
Oh.
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
High school assistant principal.
Board is asked to hire Charity Colbank as a 12-month high school assistant principal at a salary of $85,690 prorated for the 2021-22 school year, effective immediately.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need discussion. Roll call?
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith? Yes. Dr. Fike?
Based on a number of unresolved concerns I have, my vote is pass.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 6 yes, 1 pass, 2 absent.
Elementary interventionist.
Board is asked to hire Allie Bloom, SPC Reading, Bachelor 1, at a salary of $43,861. Laura Mersick, SPC Math, Bachelor 1, at a salary of $43,861. Abby Mohan, SES Reading, Bachelor 1, at a salary of $43,861. And Michelle Perger, SES Math, Bachelor 1, at a salary of $43,861. as elementary interventionist for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year. All salaries are prorated for the remainder of the 2021-2022 school year. This recommendation is also for the hiring of these individuals for the 2022-2023 school year.
Need a motion?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Is it stipulated in writing that these jobs are terminated at the end of the 2023 school year?
Any other discussion? Roll call?
Unless we decide that we want to continue with them, correct? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Okay. I need a motion to table item number 6.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Discussion? This isn't necessary because of where we're at in the school year, just so everybody's aware. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approval of van bus driver?
Board is asked to approve, at the recommendation of Quest, Mary Llewell Leonard as a new driver. Clearances are up to date. Mary has driven for Quest in the past.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call?
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Cafeteria substitute?
Board is asked to approve Courtney Kropp as permanent worker, middle school, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3 hours each day. Approve Sandra Herman as a day-to-day cafeteria substitute on an as-need basis. Clearances are up to date. Accept the resignation of Wendy Poole, effective immediately, but will remain on as a day-to-day sub as needed, and grant permission for the cafeteria to repost a 3-hour-a-day permanent position at SES.
Need a motion?
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion?
Are we not hiring Wendy Poole back? Isn't that what, aren't we hiring her back as a day-to-day sub?
Says that in there?
Yes.
It says she's resigned, but not that she's to be rehired as a
She
day-to-day sub.
was full-time, Wendy?
Sorry, my hearing is so poor, I'm sorry.
I think we're gonna have to amend
Wendy
what it
Poole.
says.
Wendy Poole, yeah, she unfortunately accepted a position, but her family asked her to babysit 1 day a week, so she can't continue to work. So she's hoping maybe next year when the kid goes to school, she can come back permanently, so.
So she will no longer remain a day-to-day sub?
She'll be a sub, she was a permanent worker, Wendy was permanent.
The word resignation's in there, that's what's throwing me, that's all.
Yeah.
It says effective immediately, but will remain as a day-to-day sub.
We're hiring her as that.
Yeah.
Do we need to have it written in there, accept the resignation of Wendy Poole as a full-time day-to-day worker, or full-time worker?
I think it's fine as written, but does somebody need other clarification?
Just a change.
From full-time to day-to-day
It's a
sub.
change, it's a change, it's not a resignation.
Substitutes are used, you know, to fill in for the regular workers, or we have holes, people are off, or.
Oh, yeah, I have no qualms with that. I'm just saying as far as how it's stated, just to make sure that we're stating it correctly as far as what we're voting on. But if everybody's okay with it, I don't care.
Any other discussion? Okay, roll call?
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer? Yes. Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries 7 yes, 2 absent.
Softball coach?
At the recommendation of Mr. Boring and head coach Todd Bunner, the board is asked to hire Ashley McCutcheon as the varsity softball assistant coach at a supplemental salary of $2,826 for the 2021-2022 school year.
I need a motion.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Friend?
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer?
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear?
Yes.
Mr. Shipley?
Yes.
Mrs. Smith?
Yes.
Dr. Fike?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Motion carries, 7 yes, 2 absent.
I need a motion to suspend the rules.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Mrs. Smith?
I wanted to let you all have the opportunity to say something before we vote on the head coach position. We received so many wonderful emails about Mr. Frederick and what a wonderful coach and person and family man and just advocate he was for the boys. We took some of the snippets from those and put them on this sheet of paper in case you didn't get it. We can make some more copies if not everyone got one. But we did want to give our condolences and tell you how sorry we are for this unimaginable thing that happened. I did email his brother today and asked if I could read the email that he sent us that was his letter of recommendation, unless you'd rather read it yourself. You're good with that? Okay. So after I read this, then if anyone wants to come up and speak, you're just welcome to come up and say whatever you'd like to say. All right. Hello, my name is Rob Frederick, and I am a class of 2000 Southmoreland graduate and a class of 2004 University of Pittsburgh graduate. I'm also a proud former Southmoreland Scotty and Pitt Panthers student athlete. I'm writing to you to submit my highest recommendation for Ron Frederick as the next head varsity football coach at Southmoreland. I'm doing this not only as a brother that is able to observe his high character every day as a father and a husband, but as a person that was able to share the field of battle with Ron over many years as a former teammate and assistant varsity football coaches together. Ron is an absolute slam dunk hire for your athletic department and football program. Ron will provide your school district the following from day one of hire: a tenured leader, coach, and mentor that will always put his players first and operate with high ethical and moral standards. A developer of people, a motivator that will always get the best out of his team on the field and in the classroom. A coach that will be able to network and connect with the college ranks in order to afford the best possible athletic future and education after high school for his players. A winner. A coach that will bring a great amount of school pride and many future championships to Alberton and the Scottsdale community. A CEO coach with a wealth of experience that will retain one of the highest quality assistant coaching staffs in the WPIAL. A coach that dedicates himself year-round to his student athletes. I have seen the work Ron puts in during the off-season. I challenge you to find a coach anywhere that does more to develop his players. A coach that will foster a tremendous family-oriented culture for his players and staff. A stable force for years to come. You could be making the next legacy coaching hire in the WPIAL. I believe this is a very important moment and a critical decision for the future of the Southmoreland Athletic Department. Hiring Ron Frederick as your next head football coach could be the best decision you will make as a school board for your current and future student athletes.
Is there anybody that would like to say anything? Come forward, please.
Good evening. I'm Tim Bukowski, assistant coach, and I just want to thank all of you for, making Ron's dream come true. He brought me here from, we coached together for a couple of years at Ringgold, and he said, Tim, we're going to go coach at Southmoreland, and I looked at Ron and said, I'm coming off 4 state championships at Clareton. We're going to Southmoreland. They haven't had much success. He said, don't worry, we'll win. And that's the way he was. The guys that coached with him here, he was always positive, a great guy. And it means so much to me that, he knew, Tuesday night that he was going to be the next coach. and that meant the world to him. I was going to be there to support him. You know, I have a huge void in my heart, and we spoke. These guys will tell you, nobody can text you quicker than Ron. I mean, you saw the bubbles coming back as you were finishing what you were saying, and that's how he was about everything. He was just an eternal optimist. We did do what he said. We won. You know, if you were at any of the games, and we made the playoffs twice after a 40-year drought, that he was a huge part of that, because the way he got his linemen and pulled us all together and made us one. And, you know, we all lost a great friend, a great coach. You guys made the right choice hiring Ron Frederick. He would have led us to the next level. And, you know, on behalf of our coaching staff and our players who are going to miss him dearly, he will be gone but never forgotten. His name will be carried on with this program forever. And I'm really proud to call him my friend. And it's been a tough week for everybody, but this is a great night for Ron. And I thank you again for making him our head coach. Thank you.
Thanks, Seth.
Good evening. My name is Mason Niederhauser, and I'm a junior at Southmoreland High School. A great coach has an ability to motivate and inspire. He truly makes a difference in his athletes' lives. That great coach was Ron Frederick, or as we called him, Coach Fred. It is impossible to put into words the sorrow I feel at the passing of Coach Fred. When I was told the news came of his passing, my reaction was shock and tears. Coach Fred has been more than just a coach to me, but a mentor and a friend. As a high school athlete, I was lucky to have a coach who took the time to prepare workouts, and he was personally involved with each season. He remained interested and involved coach both during and after the season. Coach Fred knew the sport of football and had the gift of understanding the teenage spirit. He had high expectations for each of us and held us to them. In those difficult days as stubborn teen, when I am always right and my parents are always wrong, he was guiding force for me. We had many talks during the football season and even off the season. Like when I would get random text messages saying how rolling around on the mat with other dudes was going, or just, hey, Niederhosen, how's it going? Are you staying out of trouble? Or how's work going? Or how was your holiday? He had a big dream and big plans for us this coming season. How lucky are we, my fellow brothers and teammates? How lucky are we? Am I to have an awesome coach to believe in us to that extent? And like his push toward winning, he had a belief that life was meant to be lived with honesty, dignity, and lots of laughter. I have many memories and many reasons to be thankful that Coach Fred was my coach, mentor, and friend. We all would be here for a while tonight if I talked about them all. But most importantly, he helped me to achieve success and understand the meaning. He inspired me to persevere during the difficult times. He showed me by example how I want to live life as a productive, responsible, and caring adult like he was. I have so much respect for him and admire the person he was. My mom probably said it best when she said, the world has lost a beautiful person, and heaven has been a lot better this last week since his arrival. Thank you, Miss Frederick, for sharing your husband, and thank you, Sophia, Colin, and Dylan, for sharing your dad with so many great, cool people like me. I will miss him dearly. And Coach Fred up there, I will play my heart out this season for you, and I know you'll be up there watching over me and my fellow brothers and teammates and coaching us from far. Has it easy, Coach. Thank you for having me.
My name's Caleb Tax. I'm an upcoming senior who has played on the high school football team for the past 3 years. First, I'd like to take the time to thank the members of the board for allowing this public meeting to be held and allowing us players to speak. It truly does mean a lot. I would just like to say a few words about Ron Frederick. Ron Frederick was an inspiration to us all. There are only so many people in this world that are truly genuine, and he was one of those people. I was lucky enough to have spent a lot of time as a football player with him. He was one of those people that was always able to change the atmosphere around him with his jokes and just his presence. Even if you were a stranger to him, he would always be willing to give you a hand or sit down and just have a conversation with you. He was always willing to believe in the kids he was coaching, no matter the circumstance, myself included. He was always someone I felt I could go to for advice, either in football or just in life. During his time as a coach, he has helped shape this football program from the youth to the high school level, and I'm sure he is looking down on us wishing for our success. We will always remember him as the person who you could relate to, the person who made us laugh, the person who built upon our skills, the person who helped define our character, the person who encouraged our leadership, and the person who made sure we were well fed. His dream was to be this team's coach, and he had finally received it shortly before his passing. There was no better man for the job than him. We as a team plan to do everything in our power to represent him in the best light on and off the field. He has a special place in all of our hearts, and we will never forget the things he has done for us. Thank you for your time.
I want to come up here in honor of Ron tonight because for 5 years, I've talked to this man every day. I used to coach with him for 10 years prior to this. And for 5 years, his dream was to stand here tonight in front of you guys and accept this. He was so passionate about coaching. I knew every one of you. Doctor. He would say, the doctor. Hey, I know the doctor and Mr. I don't know your names, but he would tell me them. and his passion was just so awesome. Just such a fantastic man, husband, family. My brother Dan and I had coached this, and we're the LeCart, let me say my name, we're the LeCart family. We own model cleaners and uniforms out of Charleroi throughout the Pittsburgh region. And we had the luck to coach with him and love him and just spend so much time with him. And we were such good friends. And I just wanted to be here tonight and just tell you how much this meant to him. And what an honor. And all that I ask is that this community holds up this family at this time, holds them up in their hands. And these little kids just holds them up and looks out for them as a community. And we need to do that. And as a business owner, my brother and I will support anything to keep his name in Southmoreland history so it's never forgotten. Whether we need to do a golf outing or whatever we need to do a scholarship, we're going to be the backers of that as a company and as a business. And you guys, Southmoreland has a true angel that's above, that's watching over this community. I love you guys.
Got to say some words too. I'm Joe's baby brother, Dan LeCart. What's awesome is I'd take a hand for these kids that just got up and spoke to you all. That's what Ron's impact was. It was on kids. It was being positive for, there's a lot of kids that when we coached at Charleroi and Ringgold didn't even have fathers, didn't have parents, didn't even have a family structure. And Ron's heart, magical. He was that support for those kids, in our prior experience. And there's so many of those kids that I see now that didn't have the supported family. They're good, positive citizens in our community 10 years later. And that was from Coach Ron and Coach Rob Frederick. Rob Frederick coached with us too. I mean, there was countless days just to get kids stronger. They would make 500 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for a night for those kids to get stronger and be self-confident. And I see in the world today there's so much negativity in the world and bullying and things of that nature. Ron was that. He was that positive force for these kids. And certainly always want to remember him. I want to thank you all. How Southmoreland was his heart. We coached at a few other schools, but he always wanted to come home and be. What a special night for Ronnie. Just thank you for this special night for the Frederick family and for Ronnie. I know he's smiling down at all of us tonight. So thank you. And again, like my brother said, anything we need to do to honor whatever, a press box or a scoreboard, model cleaners and uniforms are going to be behind this for our good friend Ron. Thank you.
My name is Anthony Rosito. I am the head football coach at Best Center High School. I met Ron 20 years ago, and then I coached with him 12 years ago. Ronnie is a special guy, and I don't have to tell you, you've heard it all tonight. But what I want to do is I want to commend this board for even consider to keep him in honor here at Southmoreland High School. He would never have let you down. I came up here 3 years ago and I was going to help him with his quarterbacks and help him coach. But I lived an hour away and it was tough getting up here. And I found a job close to home. I live right in the Best Center School District. But I want to commend you as a board and the Southmoreland parents and the players at Southmoreland for all the honors they bestowed on Ronnie. He deserved every bit of them. I also would like to tell you, in my heart, I would like and hope that you would consider Timmy Bukowski to help this program stay on track. Timmy and I coached together. He is just like Ron, and you wouldn't be sorry. I honestly, deep in my heart, believe that he would have your school district in his best interest. Thank you.
I'll be brief. This is obviously a bittersweet night for my family. I'm Ron's brother, Rob, for those of you that don't know me. It's a very, very sad that we're not going to get to see him live out this dream. And that's exactly what this was. This was a dream for him. He could have went and he could have coached anywhere on any staff and been very successful. But right here is where he wanted to be always. And on the flip side of that, we're extremely proud of him as a family that we get to be here today to witness this. I think I could speak on behalf of our entire family. What you're doing tonight, this is first class. This is being handled in a first class fashion. We appreciate you doing this. I will never forget Ron, and I hope none of these players do, because he was a big part of their life. We have a lot of memories here at Southmoreland. I remember as kids, if you remember the old stadium before all the beautiful renovations were done and the brand new field house was put in, there was a hillside on the side of the stadium that a lot of the students would hang out during the game. When Ron and I were 11 and 12 and 13 and 14 years old, we would stand together on that hillside watching the older kids play and wear those red and black jerseys. There was nothing that was more important to us than doing that. And Ron was a master of, when he accomplished one dream, he moved on to the next dream. And he was a great player here. The next dream was moving on to play Division I football. He accomplished that. He was a very good player in college. The next dream was just to coach at any level. He wanted to be a football coach and impact like these kids back here. And he accomplished that. And the next dream was to come back home and be the next football coach here at Southmoreland. And lucky to say, I know we didn't have a lot of time, but he accomplished that dream as well. And I'm very, very proud to stand here and watch you guys vote on this tonight, because this was the mountaintop. This was the pinnacle for him. He would have been here and he would have coached here until his last day, until he could do it no longer. So I just wanted to say on behalf of my family, I really appreciate every single one of you guys for doing this. This is big for our family. And I have 2 nephews sitting right here. I have more that are going to be Scotties. And we're a Scotty family. And anything I can do to ever support this athletic department, this football program, this school district, I'm going to come running and help. So thank you guys for all you've done. We very much appreciate it. Thank you.
Was there anybody else that wanted to say anything? I want to thank everybody for speaking tonight, thanking the players. I know that takes a lot to come up here. Thank you. Head varsity football coach.
The board is asked to approve Ron Frederick as head varsity football coach.
Need a motion.
Moved. We all move.
You need a second.
We all second it.
Roll call.
Ike.
Yes.
Mr. Friend.
Yes.
Mrs. Geyer.
Yes.
Mrs. O'Rear.
Yes.
Mr. Polakowski.
Yes.
Mr. Shipley.
Yes.
Mrs. Smith. Mrs. Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries. 8 yes, 1 absent.
I'd like to request a moment of silence. I need a motion to adjourn. Make a motion. You need a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Taking a 15-minute recess.